The sun was sinking behind the endless fields of golden wheat, painting the horizon with colors of fire and blood. The small farmhouse at the edge of the valley stood quiet, surrounded by rows of tall cornstalks swaying in the late summer wind. Inside that house lived a 17-year-old girl named Alara, a farm girl known in her village for her kind heart, her endless love for animals, and the deep bond she shared with her hunting dog, a massive black hound named Brutus. Life on the farm was hard, but Alara loved it. She would wake before dawn, milk the cows, feed the chickens, and then head into the woods with Brutus to hunt rabbits, quail, or sometimes deer to sell in the nearby market. Her father had passed away 2 years ago, leaving the farm in her and her mother's hands, and though it was exhausting, she found joy in the simple rhythm of the land. But like every story of innocence, there were shadows creeping around her. The boys from the neighboring village, sons of landowners and merchants, despised Alara. They hated her because she was different. She was strong where others were fragile, independent where others were submissive, and she spoke her mind when they wanted her to stay silent. Most of all, they hated the way she outshined them in everything, riding horses faster, shooting straighter, working harder. Envy is a dangerous seed, and in their hearts that seed grew into something poisonous. On that fateful evening, when the crickets had just begun their nightly chorus and the breeze carried the scent of fresh hay, Alara walked back from the forest with Brutus by her side. She had a few rabbits slung across her shoulder, her face glowing with the pride of a good day's hunt. But on the narrow dirt road, she saw them waiting, 4 boys, their laughter sharp and cruel like broken glass. They blocked her path, their eyes gleaming with malice. Brutus growled low in his throat, his muscles tensing as he sensed the danger. "What do you want?" Alara asked firmly, gripping her bow tighter. She wasn't afraid, at least not yet. One of the boys, the leader named Garrick, stepped forward. His father was a wealthy trader, arrogant and feared, and Garrick had inherited every ounce of his cruelty. "We want you to know your place, farm girl," he sneered. "You think you're better than us because you can shoot a bow, because you run wild with your mutt. Maybe it's time you learn what happens when you forget who holds the power here." Before she could react, 2 boys rushed at her, knocking her to the ground. Brutus lunged forward with a furious snarl, but one of them swung a stick and struck the dog across the face, making him stumble back with a yelp of pain. Alara cried out, trying to fight, but they were too many, too strong. They grabbed her arms, tied her wrists with rough rope, and dragged her struggling body toward the woods. Her cries echoed into the darkening sky, but no one came. No one ever dared stand against the sons of wealth and power. Brutus tried again and again to attack, but they kicked him, threw stones, and finally tied him to a post, his bark ripping through the night like thunder. They dragged Alara deeper into the forest, to a place where an old oak tree stood, its twisted branches reaching like claws toward the heavens. The boys' laughter filled the clearing, their voices trembling not with fear but with the thrill of cruelty. Garrick pulled the rope tighter around Alara's wrists, then looped it around a thick branch high above. Her heart pounded in her chest as she realized what they intended to do. "Please," she gasped, her voice breaking. "Don't do this. My mother needs me, please." But Garrick's grin widened. "Your mother will learn. Everyone will learn. A farm girl doesn't rise above her betters. Tonight, you'll be nothing more than a lesson." With a swift motion, they pulled the rope, lifting her off the ground. Alara's feet kicked wildly, her lungs burning as the rope tightened around her neck. Her vision blurred, stars exploding across her eyes as she struggled for breath. The boys watched, their faces a mixture of excitement and fear, until suddenly a sound shattered their wicked triumph. A sound like the roar of a beast unleashed. It was Brutus. The dog had torn free from the post, his powerful body slamming against the ground as he sprinted into the clearing. His eyes glowed like fire, his teeth bared, and his growls rumbled like a storm. The boys froze, their laughter cut short as Brutus lunged at them. He knocked one to the ground, snapping at his arm, forcing the others to scatter in terror. But Brutus didn't stop there. He leapt toward the tree, his massive jaws clamping down on the rope. His teeth sank into the rough fibers, and with a savage pull, he began to tear it apart. Alara's body dangled, her face turning pale, her consciousness slipping away. But Brutus ripped and bit with desperation, his growls echoing in the dark forest. The rope frayed strand by strand until at last it snapped. Alara crashed to the ground. gasping for air, her chest heaving as she coughed and sobbed. Brutus circled around her, nudging her with his nose, licking her face, whining in fear for his beloved master. She reached up with trembling hands, clutching his fur, tears streaming down her cheeks. "You saved me," she whispered hoarsely. "You saved my life." But the danger wasn't over. Garrick and the others, though terrified, were still nearby, watching from the shadows. Anger burned in their eyes. Not just anger at the dog, but at the fact that their plan had failed. And deep inside, Ella knew this was only the beginning. The farm girl and her dog had survived this night, but a darker storm was brewing on the horizon. One that would test not only her strength but the unbreakable bond between her and Brutus. And dear listeners, as this tale unfolds, I want you to stay with me, because what comes next will shock you, inspire you, and perhaps make you believe in the fierce power of loyalty and courage. If you're feeling the rush of this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like this, full of heart, bravery, and the fight against cruelty, deserve to be told. And I promise the next chapter will grip you even tighter.